And so I want to make sure that I'm giving this tree everything that it needs. Especially, have you seen the price of avocados? I mean, if there are 50 avocados on here, I'm like 100 there. Hey, this is Cameron. Welcome back to the Busy Gardener channel. Today we are going to go through and whitewash some of our trees to protect them from sunburn and sun scald using Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard. Let's get busy. So in the summertime, something that we come out and do is we love to be able to pick fruit. We love to be able to see all the stuff that is ready for harvest and just get buckets full and baskets full and crates full of beautiful, fresh picked fruit. But in order to do that, we want to make sure that our trees have what they need in order to remain entirely healthy. One of the ways we do that is by fertilizing, but another hugely important thing that's needed to be done both in hot climates and in cold climates is to whitewash your trees. Whitewashing is this ancient technique where to protect from the damaging effects of that heavy summer sun or that, actually interestingly in the wintertime, farmers would often whitewash their trees as kind of a sunscreen, a sun repellent that would help to protect, essentially creating a layer between the sun and the bark. The reason that matters is obviously, everybody knows what a sunburn is like. It's just that exposure from very intense sun. And for us, especially in North America, that happens normally during the summertime in the summer months, hottest months like June, July, August, even September. The reason for that, as you can understand, is the sun is more intense. During the other times of the year, the sun is having to come through the atmosphere at an angle, and so it's having to come diagonally through, and it's being filtered out through a lot of our atmosphere. But as that sun shifts up, there's a lot less atmosphere that it has to go through, and so its rays can be that much more direct and that much more intense. And so coming through and making sure that you protect your trees from getting a sunburn is really important. Now, why is that important? If a tree gets a sunburn, it does a few things. One, it can damage the bark and prevent those nutrients from being able to come up into the canopy from the roots. Another reason is because it creates stress for the tree. And so then this tree that you want to produce a ton of fruit is now having to focus on repairing itself. And you don't want to have to be in repair mode. You want it to be in produce mode. Kind of a final thought is, when you create some sort of wound on the tree, there's always the potential for pathogens and for pests, little bugs and stuff to come in, boring little beetles to come in and to damage your tree and start causing some systemic issues as well. So whitewashing your trees produces, second to probably mulch, probably produces the greatest amount of benefit for you in terms of preventing some problems. So something that I like to use is this Ivy Organic, they call 3-in-1 Plant Guard. I use it for trees primarily, but it can be used on other plants as well. And what this essentially is an organic whitewash. Well, springtime is a great time to come out and do this type of whitewashing. Summertime, we're so busy running around doing the harvest, doing our summer pruning. Wintertime obviously has other considerations, but springtime, when we're just looking at the different stuff that's growing here, we're able to come out. There aren't too many tasks, and so springtime, before that hot sun hits, and while we still have a little bit of extra bandwidth, is a great time to come out and protect the trees with something like this. Something that is usually done is you have like a latex paint, an indoor paint, and you mix it half and half with water, and then you come and paint your bark, and that works. The problem is that as the tree expands, it's going to start, those paint flecks are going to start coming off and getting down into your soil, and with each passing year, you're going to have more and more paint start to go into your soil. The white especially, they've got other colors if you want it to match your landscape, but the white is going to do the most reflecting. So one added thing that this has that the others, paint doesn't have, is this comes with a little vial of oils, essential oils, and those smells of those oils keep some of these pests away. That's kind of a nice thing to keep away. We've had in our orchard some little wood damage where some rabbits and squirrels and things come and gnaw at things, and so repelling them is a good thing too. Here's an example on this jujube over here. If you look down here at the bark, you'll see how this splitting is happening, and you see how the old bark is wanting to come off. Well, as this stuff falls down, this is now going to be going down into the ground, and we want to make sure that this stuff going into the ground is not going to start adding some toxicity to what we're doing. All right, well, as we open this up, we're going to mix up a new batch of this to go and put on the tree. And so it kind of opens up just like a little paint can. If you've ever opened a little pint of paint or whatever, you know how to do this. Inside, we've got the little substance, the material, the powder that's going to be mixed in with the water. And then inside here is a vial of the oils. And the oils, man, this is always so pungent. Let me remember which ones this has in it. Castor oil, cinnamon oil, clove oil, garlic oil, peppermint oil, rosemary oil, and spearmint oil. All of that sounds really, really good, but the critters don't like it. So it smells good to us, bad to them, I'll take it. Also earlier, I was talking about what this has in it. Iron oxide, limestone, which I think is one of the bigger things that creates that white, mica, milk, silica, and then a couple diatomaceous earth. Oh, I didn't even know that. That keeps other little pests. That stuff's awesome. It breaks down the shell of the exoskeleton of little critters. So that's really awesome too.
Do you make all of it at once, or I think you...
Well, it depends. If you don't have to make the entire thing. If you have like a very small tree or you're not sure if you're going to use it, then you can make half, just put roughly half of this in here and half in here. And so that way you've got kind of an unmixed part that you can use later if you want. You can also, if you mix it all up, you can freeze it. On the back, I think it says you can freeze it for a couple of years. You usually want to just use it the same day. You can refrigerate it for a couple of weeks. But as you can see, we've got a number of trees, and we're going to... I may put any unused stuff today in the fridge. So just the powder. Take a close look at this just to get an idea. I mean, it looks like chalk or flour. And here's that little vial of the oils that go into it. And so this is optional. If you don't want to use this for some reason, this will get you, the whitewash itself will get you all of the results that you need for protecting from the sun. This is only to keep pests and other birds like that one away from your stuff. Actually, I don't know if it works for birds. Forget I said that. Rodents for sure, things that have noses, little critters, mammals, that kind of stuff. It'll definitely keep away. All right, so I should probably look at the actual instructions. Let's add powder and oil to the can, fill it near the top, stir well, add more if necessary. Now, I want to emphasize that you can do less water if you want it to be more pasty and you don't want it to go on as fine. You can just add a little bit less water. So you add water up until the point that it's the consistency that you want it. But I'm going to add the oil. Wow. Yeah, take a whiff of this, Kyle.
Oh, man.
That smells so nice.
It does.
I'm a little hungry, too, so that... All right, so the oil's in there. Then we're going to take and... I'm going to fill this up with water. And you want to use a stir stick to stir this up, so I've got a stir stick over here I'm going to grab. It takes a little bit of time to get this. It's almost like throwing flour into water. It takes just a little bit of time to get it all synced up and doing its thing. Be a little chunky at first. You know, as I'm stirring this, I'm thinking it probably would make sense to put in a little bit of water first, create a paste that's kind of nice, because you can be a little bit more vigorous with the stirring. Once it's mostly full, I'm realizing that I don't want any of it to come out. And so that's causing a little bit of an issue here. Let's take a look at the consistency though. Oh man, that smells so nice.
It does smell really good.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Well, good morning to you too. Hey! Okay, now the way that we're going to do this right now for the trunks, it's the easiest to just get a cheapo little paintbrush to go on just as an applicator. Something I'm going to show you in a little bit is how you can take this and dilute it down further, and you can put it into a spray bottle. Although I got a spray bottle of it already pre-mixed, you're going to make sure that it doesn't get clogged because this stuff has some like little particulates in it. So spray bottle is really convenient if you get a pre-made one, but you can mix one and just shake it around really well and you'll have the same effect. So let's figure out which one we want to refresh. Here, let's go over here and look at this Hass avocado. Look at this, look at this. Look at these. Look at that. These are avocados. Okay, if you have followed this channel at all, you know what these avocados have been like. They've drowned, they've gotten burned, and they are doing it. Yes! I can't even contain myself right now. I've had to replace a tree in these spots. I mean, look, here's one still burnt to a crisp. I haven't even ever taken it out. This is what I've been dealing with the last 5 years. And to come out here and see avocados actually growing on this house avocado, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, well, this is a great place to start. Last year, actually about the same time, in May, I was out here with Charles Malki. He came over, we shot a video, we went through and looked at some of the trees, and he introduced you guys to this Ivy Organic 3-in-1 plant guard. And we came on this thing and noticed that this had really significant sunburn damage before. And actually, if you look close, you'll see that there was some, I'm not looking too bad right now, but there's some stress here from the sun. I don't know if you can tell the difference between that and the normal bark growing. This is a little bit stressed and sun damaged. And it was only on the southern facing side, and so we knew, you could easily tell that it was actual sunburn. And so what we did was we painted it with the 3-in-1 and painted the whole thing. And this last year, this has done so well. Nice new foliage. You know, obviously it's fruiting this year, which it's doing because it feels happy. And it looks happy when you look at this tree compared to last year. Last year just had some leaves, a couple little fledgling branches. And this originally was a 15-gallon that I put on here too. So this is so exciting to come back here and see that this tree is doing so well. So anyway, right now we're gonna take and refresh the whitewash on this tree. It did such a nice job. Now, the areas that you really wanna pay attention to, especially on subtropicals like, or tropicals even, is you wanna pay attention. You notice that the bark itself, I didn't even wanna call it the bark because there really isn't any yet, is such tender green, and this stuff can burn so easily. I was just at a friend's house the other day, and he has some giant avocados, but some of his young ones were absolutely scorched. And so he was talking about how he needs to get out and whitewash his as well. He's got 100 and some trees.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, a guy from church. Jack, if you're watching, Jack, you got an awesome place. But yeah, you know, you've been looking for this stuff. Get it online. Convince your loved one to just get it online. It's available in a bunch of stores, but you know what, Jack? I'm gonna get you a container of this. I'm gonna make it happen for you. Okay. So what I wanna do is I wanna really focus on replenishing the southern facing. I really wanna focus on that in North America because this is the direction that the sun is coming. The backside can get protected. It'll keep bugs and pests and things from it, but the sun protection is really on an avocado what I want to do. So just taking and finding these little exposed parts. And you want to start at the top of the tree, by the way, because as you paint, all that paint is going to drip down. And as it drips down, it's going to hit the stuff beneath it. So start from the top and head down. If this stuff gets on some leaves, that's okay. You don't want to entirely paint your leaves with this, but you know, if it gets on the leaves, it's not going to hurt them. They'll appreciate the little additional coverage, especially during those summer months, which can just be so brutal. I don't entirely care. This isn't a part of my landscape, so I don't care if this all has a bunch of white splashed all over it. What I want is I want good, healthy tree. I want good fruit. They've got other colors that you can use if you're really worried about the color and how that's going to look in your landscape. But I want healthy, happy trees is my primary consideration. I should add that young trees are the ones that are especially susceptible to damage. When you get a tree from a nursery, it usually is been grown at the nursery or wherever it is in a group, and there's essentially a canopy of all of these trees and they're growing up together. And then you take your one tree out of there and now it's sitting all by itself, exposed from every direction where it wasn't before. It doesn't quite have the canopy yet, and it doesn't have the stronger bark on the outside, and so it's so easy for these things to get scorched, especially avocados. Avocados, if you can you can grow a lot of stuff and fairly easily, but avocados can sometimes be a very, very sensitive plant. So that's why I'm starting here, and I'll kind of make my way to the others. Yeah, look at this tender green here.
Yeah,
look very closely at this. Look how tender that is. It just almost looks like
it's the same as the leaf.
Yeah, it looks like the leaf. Sometimes I wonder, and I don't actually know the answer to this, but I wonder if the bark being green absorbs anything, if it kind of is able to photosynthesize. I wonder why it's green like that. That's crazy. So it looks like it fruits and flowers on the new growth, actually. On all the green growth is where I see all of these little flowers that come out of. That's good to know. So in here, I want to be able to get some whitewash on the top, but there are all of these little stems coming out of here for the fruit, and yet I want to get some whitewash in there. So it's okay to just grab some on your brush and just drop it on there. See how I'm doing that? I'm not really having to paint up and down. I'm just kind of dabbing and letting the kind of drops come down and protect it. The trunk is the thing. If you're going to protect one thing, you want to make sure that the trunk is the thing that's protected. That is the highway that feeds all of the other stuff. This can put out other branches, but that's like the main set of organs, if you will. You can live without an arm or a leg, but it's hard to live without a liver. So I want to make sure that that trunk is protected. This thing last season had some really serious sunburn on it. Now, something that we don't really have to deal with here in Southern California especially is something called sun scald. And sun scald is a thing in the wintertime where if you're dealing with really warm days that then turn into really cold nights, what happens is during the daytime those little cells kind of open up because of the heat, and then when it gets cold at night, all of a sudden they freeze, and so that can really damage the trunk and create these similar issues of sunburn. So this helps to protect against that sort of thing too, by not letting the trunk and the tree heat up as much during the day.
Question is, did you put sunscreen on yourself?
I'm half Persian, man. I was born with sunscreen.
Do you think the organic 3-in-1 will work on human?
You want to try it here?
No.
I think that it would.
Yeah.
I think that it would. That's pretty funny. Yeah, if you get stuck in a desert island and you needed something to protect you from the sun, I suppose this could also. We don't condone the use, but we'd love to hear how it goes.
The question is this easier or more difficult of a task than putting sunscreen on your kids?
Oh. Well, this stays in one place, so it's got that going for it. One of the things that, because this is, you can see, it's taking some effort. It takes time. It takes money to do. But so does getting a new tree, waiting for that tree to get established, waiting for that tree to grow. And the fact that I've had to replace these couple of avocados, really I had 4 avocados in this space. The fact that I've had to replace them so many times, and we've still not had a single avocado that we've been able to harvest. And this is over 5 years. So, I don't know, $30 or something for a thing that's going to really protect these things and get me that much closer. What a shame if all of a sudden I spend 2, 3, 4 years waiting for a tree to fruit, and then it dies or it gets really just affected and all the fruit drops or something. Spending a little bit of time and a little bit of money, it's almost like fertilizing your trees. Okay, don't fertilize them. You don't want to fertilize them, don't. But then you're missing out on, and you're depriving the tree of something that it really, really needs. In that case, it's fertilizing and feeding it. In this case, it's protection. It's creating kind of a little, protecting it from the environment. So it's kind of your call with that. Okay, so another thing that I got is this 3-in-1. It's the exact same thing as came in that can, but this is already pre-mixed in a spray bottle. And so the thing that this is great for is to spray on the foliage of a tree like an avocado. What happens is as you spray this stuff, give it a good shake because you want it really well mixed in there. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to add a bit of sunscreen. This isn't painting over the leaves entirely. This is just trying to create a little bit so that, I don't know, maybe 5%, 10% of the leaf is covered, and that way it's reflecting off some of that heat. So going on and using this as a foliar spray as a protectant is really, really cool too. So probably see here that it's got some of these little white droplets on here.
Yeah, I can see that.
Can you?
Yeah.
And so as that dries, it's going to create a little bit of a more uniform coating over the leaves. You know, it's okay if some leaves get burned. I'd rather the leaves get burned than the trunk and the wood get burned. But the leaves are also the factory that feed the tree, and so we want to protect them if we can. Leaf drop is not something that we want. So just going around and spraying, you know, it takes just a couple of minutes. Again, this is going to be really important and helpful for things like these subtropicals or tropicals that kind of need to keep their leaf on. The reason I'm doing this, the last thing I want is for this house to get stressed for all this beautiful fruit that started off to end up not being harvested. It's here so that we can harvest this fruit. And so I want to make sure that I'm giving this tree everything that it needs. Especially, have you seen the price of avocados? I mean, if there are 50 avocados on here, I'm like 100 there. I'm so happy with this. Compared to last year when we first did our application of IV Organic, this tree is just night and day in terms of its health and how it's doing. And so I'm really looking forward to coming out here with my family, being able to pick some avocados off of my own tree. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful. This is awesome. IV Organic, they've got some other stuff. Look on Amazon. I'll put a link to this stuff in the description below. And you'll notice that they've got some other colors. They've got green, they've got brown, they've got some that doesn't come with that oil. They've got the spray. They've also got some fertilizers, which are really high quality fertilizers. Kind of like we're saying, spend the time, spend the money on a tree because you're expecting a lot from that tree over a long period of time. You want to set it up. It's worthwhile to do this, to take the time and spend the money, a little bit of money to do it. So that way you're happy. Hey, what questions have you got? What has your experience been with using something like IV Organics or a similar whitewash? Is there some other tip that I haven't considered that you want to add to this? Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the Busy Gardener channel, would love for you to do it. Head over to IV Organic channel as well. If you're on that channel now, you know, take a minute and subscribe to it. There's so many opportunities to see fruit tree tours and techniques and things like that. So, hey, sure appreciate you tuning in. And hey, whether you've got one tree that you've got whitewash in your orchard or 500, until next time, stay busy.
Thank you, Cameron Akrami of The Busy Gardener, for that awesome gardening lesson on whitewashing, and for a ton of more Southern California based gardening lessons by The Busy Gardener. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel at The Busy Gardener, and you'll learn gardening lessons which include how we're growing tons of cherries in Southern California, my Haas avocado, which we just watched. Can you plant a blueberry plant in a warm climate? Here we go, starting plants from seedlings indoors, and so forth. To subscribe, quite simple. You just click right here on the subscribe button. And when you get that push bell notification, be sure to hit that too to get connected to all of the publications that are published by Cameron. For your convenience, you can find the link to The Busy Gardener in the description below this video as well as in the comments below. And it is free to join and makes a huge difference in growing our gardening community. As always, keep growing with IV Organics, and wishing you all happy gardening.